The 5 most insane banned water slides you can't go on anymore. Down the 5 most insane banned water slides you can't go on anymore. For starters, that's a very good thing, because these amusement park rides have been the furthest thing from amusing for their unlucky riders. Before we dive into the video, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe for more top 10 content. Also, make sure to stay until number 1 to see the most insane banned water slide ever created. Your mind will be blown. On that note, let's start the waterworks. Number 5, Aquasphere. The first one on the list comes from the land down under. Aquasphere, located at the Peninsula Aquatic Recreation Centre in Frankston, Australia, opened with the promise of a thrilling raft ride that starts with a heart-pounding drop. Instead of the promised thrills, the water slide was synonymous with accidents, injuries to swimmers, and periodic shutdowns. In 2016, park officials finally gave the water slide the axe and tore it down, building a brand new raft water slide in its place. The Aquasphere first shut down in August 2014 when 2 adults sustained head injuries while riding the slide during a closed session for staff and their families. This was a month before the park had formally opened. The slide was back in action after a 10-month hiatus, but another accident quickly followed, with a woman complaining of severe back pain after going on the slide. The final nail in Aquasphere's coffin came in 2016, when the slide was shut down yet again after a young boy fell off his raft and was battered around inside the tube before being ejected. Eyewitnesses spoke of horrific scenes of the boy lying lifeless on the ground. By most accounts, the ride left him unconscious for a whole 15 minutes. His older brother was also reported to have sustained an injury to his arm. The Aquasphere's replacement, the Python, promises more twists and turns as well as more security features, including lights and cameras inside of the tube. Number 4, Black Hole. This next water slide on this list lives up to its name. After all, it might just have had a hand in the Wet n Wild water park in Orlando going out of commission in 2016. Much of the facility's troubles revolved around the Black Hole, a water slide that shot swimmers down a dark coiling tube on a 2-person float. In 2000, a jury ordered the park to pay an Orlando resident $1.73 million for injuries he received riding the Black Hole. In his appeal to the court, the man claimed he could not move his legs when he exited the ride. He also complained that he had been struck by something inside of the tube. The injury required surgery and a titanium plate had to be inserted in his neck. The park's defense did not convince the jury. Wet n Wild denied the ride was to blame for the man's injury, but in a contradictory move, also accused the Canadian manufacturers of making a defective water slide. This incident, which took place in 1994, was just the most prominent of the many accidents swimmers suffered while the Black Hole was in business. These included inner tubes flipping or hitting other inner tubes and swimmers falling off the tube and injuring themselves. All of it while happening in the dark. Imagine how terrifying that would be. Witnesses who testified at the trial said rafts got stuck routinely in the tube and that park officials sent new rafts into the water slide in 20-second intervals when the ride took 23 seconds to complete. If that isn't negligence, we don't know what is. Number 3, Cannonball Falls. Danger takes on a whole new meaning when we take a look at the next insane water slide to have ever existed. Cannonball Falls shut down in 2015 after the state of New Jersey deemed it unsafe to ride. After all, it had the dubious distinction of being the water slide with the highest reported number of injuries in the entire state. Making it even more notorious was the fact that it was located in Action Park, which has been called America's most dangerous water park. The park goes by the nicknames Accident Park, Traction Park, and Class Action Park by virtue of its mile-long record of visitors suffering injuries, broken bones, and even dying while trying out its numerous attractions. The year it shut down, Cannonball Falls reported injuries to 6 visitors, 5 of whom suffered the same bruising to their shoulders. One victim accused the park of ignoring his complaint. The ride itself was an enclosed water slide ending in a 10-foot drop into a mountain pool. State officials reported 27 injuries in total for the park in the 2015 season, but no other ride was shut down. While Cannonball Falls was put out of commission pretty quickly, it wasn't the same for Action Park. The facility, which opened its doors in 1978, survived 6 fatalities, countless injured children sent to hospitals, and a clutch of lawsuits for close to 2 decades, going through shutdowns, revivals, and name changes. In particularly bad taste, its gift shop carried "I Survived Action Park" t-shirts during one such reopening in 2010. Talk about insensitive. Number 2, Cannonball Loop. And that brings us to the most notorious water slide in history. Also a member of the Action Park family, the Cannonball Loop, however, makes its cousin Cannonball Falls look like a kiddie ride. Loop is so notorious that it lasted just 1 season before it was shut down permanently in 1985. The enclosed water slide with a gravity-defying vertical loop, its standout feature, was such a bad idea that when the park owner sent a doll on a dummy run, it came out with its head missing. Well, that's the urban legend at least, but it seems more than probable given the water slide's short but bruising history. Park employees, who were bribed $100 each to participate in trial runs, came back with bloody noses. One patron described being smacked in the head and almost losing consciousness while hazarding the loop. Another got stuck at the top of the loop, prompting the park to build an escape hatch instead of shutting down the ride. Even after the Cannonball Loop was axed, its ominous black form was not taken down and remained on the park grounds, a symbol of the Grim Reaper himself. Action Park was home to several other deadly rides with actual kill counts, including the Tidal Wave Pool or Grave Pool, which accounted for half of the park's 6 fatalities, and the Kayak Experience, on which a man was electrocuted to death. However, the Cannonball Loop has remained its most mysterious figure, perhaps because it was shut down before it could match the destructive powers of the others. And number 1, Verruckt. Amusement park rides don't get any deadlier than this. In August 2016, 10-year-old Caleb Schwab paid with his life for a trip down the world's tallest water slide, the Verruckt, which means insane in German. He was decapitated, a sight that in all likelihood continues to haunt those who were at the Schlitterbahn water park in Kansas City that day. It was the last time anyone would ride this 169-foot monster. The Verruckt, which stood taller than Niagara Falls, dropped a 3-person raft down a 17-story slide before blasting them back up a second hill to drop another 50 feet in 18 seconds flat. During the ride, Caleb's raft reportedly went airborne and collided with a metal pole, and netting meant to prevent riders from being thrown off. It emerged that there had been several complaints about that particular raft, which had a propensity to go faster and take to the air more often than the other rafts. There were other problems with the water slide itself. It was too fast, too steep. Many patrons had complained of safety straps flying off as soon as they hit the first drop. Following Caleb's death, it was revealed that the Verruckt had been plagued by engineering and design challenges, which included rafts detaching from the slide and flying off. Despite several redesigns and tests, the initial problems were obviously not fixed. The water slide opened to the public in 2014, with the park owners reportedly giving it a safe dangerous tag. After the incident of Caleb's death, there were also whistleblower accounts of how park owners had covered up safety-related incidents. With such a history behind it, it is no wonder that the Verruckt is the water slide behind the worst tragedy in the history of water parks. Well everyone, we hope you enjoyed. While you are here, go ahead and click on the links here to dive into some of our other cool videos. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new.